My name is Sylvie, and I am the global lead for this conference, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this fourth annual PMO Global Conference. And this event brings together participants from all around the world, offering the opportunity to learn and exchange ideas through seven panel discussions and 22 individual speakers. So this year, the theme is PMO for a changing world. So before I continue, allow me to introduce you to Joe and Fatima, the co-founder of this community, and a space where we can all come together, share our ideas, and grow. So let me say the same thing in French, and then I will let you continue. Je suis Sylvie, responsable mondiale de cette conférence, et j'ai le plaisir de vous accueillir à la 4e édition de cette conférence annuelle. Et cet événement réunit des participants du monde entier qui auront l'opportunité d'apprendre et d'échanger à travers 7 panels et 22 interventions individuelles. Donc, cette année, notre thème, c'est le PMO dans un monde en plein changement. Donc, avant de poursuivre, permettez-moi de vous introduire, de vous présenter Joe et Fatima, les cofondateurs de cet espace où nous pouvons tous nous rassembler, partager nos idées et grandir ensemble. Back to you, Fatima.
Thank you so much, Sylvie, and welcome to everyone. We have a huge show lined up for you. This is the 4th year of us doing this conference, and it's definitely getting more and more interest globally. We've had a significant amount of volunteers around the clock, led by Sylvie from a global perspective, Elinka, another key player, Cleopatra, Julie from an APAC region, and a number of other volunteers that have worked with us around the clock to plan and prepare conferences like this. It's also been a huge thank you to our sponsors, Forma, Transparent Choice, Planet Square, Fluid, and Soloxis, who have all made this possible. Without their support and their help, we would not be able to run a conference like this. As you may know, if you were here the last year or the years before, we are following the sun, and so we are starting here in Asia Pacific, and then we'll head over to our friends in the EMEA region, and then we'll end in the Americas. And part of this conference being possible was simply an idea that came about from Joe, who came to me with the idea 4 years ago and said, let's do this. And ever since then, it's grown and blossomed into what it is today. So before I continue talking more about APAC, I'll hand over to Joe to give us a little bit more background of why the PMO Leader exists.
Yeah, thanks, Fatima. And it's interesting. You're all looking younger every year that we do this, and I'm getting more gray, and my beard's getting longer. So something's happening. I need to find out what you're all doing. But as Fatima said, right, this came about 4 years ago because it didn't seem like there was any community out there that was really about the people. Right, every community was about what they were trying to produce, and I don't say that in a negative way. Right, there's a lot of good things that come out of certifications and awards, but as a person, sometimes you're not looking for that. Right, maybe you're just looking for someone to talk to. Maybe you're just looking for some advice, some guidance. So the idea behind this really was to have an agnostic community that wasn't about a specific association or a specific certification, a way of working, or whether or not you won an award or provide training or whatever it may be. It was really about how can we get together, exchange information, share ideas, and help one another. And it's been amazing to see how that has really come together. Over 10,700 followers on LinkedIn now. Over 1,500 registrations for this conference, support, as Fatima mentioned, from the sponsors. So it's really been an amazing experience to see how this has grown over the past 4 years. And I know we're really just getting started. So imagine what we have in front of us. As we move across the different regions, you're going to hear a lot about experiences with PMOs and leadership. For instance, we had our first ever mentoring program that we offered this year, and you're going to learn more about that. So I'm excited. I'm here for the beginning. I'll be here at the end. I'll probably sleep a little bit in between. But if you see me online, don't hesitate, reach out, say hello. Also, go visit the booths for all the sponsors. we really exist, and this is coming to all of us free because of their support. And if nothing else, just go say thank you. Let them know that you appreciate what they're doing to make this all possible for all of us. So I'll see you around over the next 18 plus hours, and hope to say hello to a bunch of you. Back to you, Fatima.
Thanks so much, Joe. We have a huge amount of speakers lined up. We've got panel sessions, we've got speakers from around the world, and we have a lot of really interesting insights to share with you. So stay tuned. A couple of things to note as well, that all of these sessions are being recorded, so they'll be available after today as well. We'd love for you to stay involved and stay tuned and share your questions in the chat as well, and we'll make sure to get them to the audience, get them to the speakers as we go. I'm just going to share with you a couple of things really quickly. Everyone can see that okay? Yep, okay, perfect. So we would not be able to do our Asia Pacific part of the conference without a huge support of speakers. Some of these speakers are people you may know, and others are upcoming speakers that have been contributing and supporting across the PMO world. Now, when we talk about the conversations we intend to have today, they are about leadership. They're about AI, agile, project management officers, regardless of what you call them in your organization. We have a huge amount of speakers that have come from all walks of life and have different experiences and different backgrounds. But why are we here today? Well, if we have a think about 2024, and for me, I know, and similar to Joe, minus the grey hairs, have been in this space for a really long time, at least 20 years for myself. Likewise, many of the people that are going to be on the call today have also been involved in this world for a long time. But what has happened in the PMO space? There's been an absolute bundle of activity that has happened. Going back in PMO, probably I would say 10, 15 years ago, there was very little happening. Aside from some really strong champions who were advocating for the PMO space, we really didn't have a seat at the executive table. We really didn't get the reference that was needed. And for a very long time, it was all about delivery and project management. Now, we know without project management, there is no purpose of having PMO, but project management is more successful by having the function of a PMO in whatever way or shape you call it. If you are going to be tuning into the PMO trends conversation later, we'll deep dive into a little bit more. But some major events happened this year. One of the biggest things that happened is our friends at the PMO Global Alliance have been working in this space, led by America and his team, to drive PMO and all of the things that come within it across the world. And as a result of that, they were recently acquired earlier this year by the Project Management Institute. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, when you think about the PMI space and what's happened in PMO, there's only been really small references to PMO in the PMBOK and other small things that have happened over the years. But for the first time, the biggest project management institute in the world has now stood up and is paying attention to what is absolutely imperative to drive greater outcomes for projects. We also seen that the new PMO practice guide will be unveiled this year as well. We had the first and biggest South African PMO conference led by Sylvie and her colleagues. We had a global project management forum that had hundreds and hundreds of people all around the world in Saudi Arabia. And we're also starting to see things being launched and released, like the new PMO Global Certification that will be coming out from PMI, as well as a really interesting space, the Green PMO, one of a kind book that was also released this year also. All of these things together are just demonstrating that we don't have all the answers, but we are starting to figure it out and people are starting to catch on. I've had conversations in the last few weeks of people that are heads of delivery or heads of engineering asking, how do we get into PMO? So there's a lot of interest and a lot of excitement, and I'm super pleased to be part of this conference and to be here with you today. And I hope that you get a lot out of it. The final thing I'll say before I hand over to Julie to talk to you through from an Asia Pacific welcome is don't be passive in today's talks and in today's conversations. Share your questions, share your thoughts, share your insights. connect with other people, and take away some golden nuggets that you can then implement not only in your PMO, but in your team. Think about the things that you will learn today and take them forward. And most of all, make sure you hashtag the PMO leader on LinkedIn and share all the insights that you're getting so that those that are not here today will be jealous and then can catch up and watch the recordings later. So on that note, I'm going to hand over to my good friend, the Asia Pacific lead, and that is Julie Oliver. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you so much, Fatima. It's so fabulous to be here. I'm really, really fortunate. It's my second year here. We're in the same office. We've got a lovely view behind us. I'm excited. I'm thrilled to be a part of it. And just to reiterate what everyone else is feeling about Fatima and Joe, thank you both so much for setting this up. And what you said, Joe, I think we only have just started. 4 or 5 years in, so you know, where are we going to be in 5 or 10 years? Like the world is out there for us. So here we go, PMO for a changing world, even better. So welcome everyone for the annual 4th leader, PMO leader, APAC region. It's so good to have you all here. We cover off 7 time zones, so good morning, good afternoon, and a little bit in between for some of us because it's right on that cusp of midday. It's really, really great to have you all here. There's been such a lot of enthusiasm, and all the people that have put their hand up to volunteer, be it speakers or behind the scenes, thank you so much. Once again, this wouldn't happen if it wasn't for all of you and your participation. Once again, big call out to our sponsors. Sponsorship here. If we don't have our sponsorship, this event doesn't happen. So Skyformer, Fluid, Soloxis, Planisware, and the team that's over in the UK, because I was looking at them this morning, Transparent Choice. Thank you all for all your effort and your energy to support us in this event. So what do we want to talk about? All these fabulous speakers that we've have volunteered their time. The first up one we have is my good friend Fatima Abuchi, who is sitting to the side of me. Now, Fatima, location in Melbourne, as if you've been listening before, co-founder of the PMO Leader and one of your co-hosts for the day. CEO of the Agile Management Office, an author, so well done to you, Fatima, in the Project Management Office, Still Fit for Purpose, set up the global white paper that came out in 2019, guest university lecturer, Australia's first PMO Influencer of the Year. That's a big deal over here, so well done. LinkedIn Power Profile. If you're an avid follower on LinkedIn, Fatima's there, and she has the most amazing posts, and she also does podcasts, which I've been very fortunate to be a part of. So her podcasts are amazing, and I'm going to give her a plug now. If you've got the opportunity to listen to one of Fatima's podcasts, absolutely get onto it. So that's that one. And then we go, and also the founder of the Agile Management Office, AMO, and the proprietary AMO Way. So that's Fatima. Now, the next one, I've got to introduce myself. Here I am, Julie Oliver, and as Joe's saying, looking younger every year, I'm sure. My role here is as an advisory board member for the APAC region, and really the majority of my work that I do here is to help set this conference up and make sure that I coordinate with the speakers and the global community. My background, I'm an ePMO consultant. I've done work in different portfolio programs and projects. PMO is my passion. I'm also I do coaching and women in leadership mentoring, which is just something that I firmly believe in and want to get more into. And as I said here, passionate about the development of PM communities. So that's me. Some housekeeping rules. As Fatima was mentioning before, we really want you to be active in your involvement today. So you'll see that there's a chat function. Now, with the chat function, that when the speaker's on, the speaker will be too busy concentrating, looking at the screen, so they may not, you may have asked a question and wonder why they're not responding to you. It's literally because they're, as I said, concentrating on what they're doing. We will adjudicate it from the administration point of view. So if you ask a question and it doesn't get necessarily answered, it's not that it hasn't been captured, and we will certainly pass that on to the speakers later on. But I just want, from a housekeeping perspective, I just want you to be aware. So being active doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get your turn straight away, but you will eventually get your turn. So thank you for everyone. And I can see that there's lots of chats here now, and there's people from Atlanta, Georgia, Singapore, Ghana, Ohio, and India. So welcome, hello to you all. Great to have you, and especially people from the other region, even better. Really, really excited to have you here. Okay, next one we've got just a bit of a rundown on who we have coming up. So we have 8 different speakers. So the session that we're running this year, and it's a bit squishy on this one, but we're going to be having 8 different speakers to come to you about with their subject matter expertise. It's ranging from marketing, which is something about, oh, that's not necessarily PMO, but marketing is in everything we do. So really looking forward to that session. We've got some, I'm going to say, really hardcore delivery and PMO specialists that have done the rounds for a long time, not to say that they're old, still useful, but they've done the rounds, and we've got them on our panels. So we've got 2 panels today, plus we also have 2 lightning sessions. So lightning sessions are quick and sharp 15-minute sessions where you actually have someone talk to you, and we don't have that Q&A at the end. So you might be curious and you might want to ask some questions, but we don't actually have the time at the end because we want to get the information from them, consume it, have a think about it, but of course you can still put your questions in the chat and we'll make sure that those 2 speakers will get that. Okay, now so we've got the schedule of the event that's happening, and as we're looking at it now, we're nearly up to our first speaker of the day, so that's very, very exciting. And I, for one, am very, very pleased to have them come on board. So what we'll be doing is we'll be finishing off our session here. It's in our annual conference kickoff, and then we'll be bringing on our first speaker of the day, who is Demi Anderson. Very, very happy to have Demi in here. And once again, I'd just like to say thank you all for your participation. Really great to have you here. Thanks again, Joe and Sylvie, who are both, it's the middle of the night over where they are. So thank you. And Joe, if you think you've got grey hair and your beard's long now, we'll talk to you in a couple of days' time when you've been up around the sun.
It's my Rip Van Winkle look coming up, yeah.
It looks awfully bright over there to be nighttime, so you must have some nice floodlights in the office there, Joe.
Yes, lots of lights on, keeping me awake.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Julie, for that welcome. As she's mentioned, we're about to kick off our first speaker of the session. In your agenda, you will find that session coming up in approximately 3 minutes' time. So get your notepads out, get your pens, get ready, and make sure that in between, when we have breaks, stretch your legs, grab a coffee, and go visit the sponsor booths as well, and make sure you reach out. They have plenty of free resources available for you there as well. So look forward to having you all join us, and let's ready to go. Here we go. Thank you. We'll see you all in the next session.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.